Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Okay, could everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? And the flag is over there. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Laura, could you do roll call and just note board members and administrators present? Okay, board, you have an agenda in front of you. Are there any changes that need to be made?
I would just like to make a change under celebrations. If right after the Superintendent's Excellence Award, you could add Mission for STEAM Education. We'll do that before the presentation. It'll fit well there.
Okay, so under B, celebration, A will remain the same. B, the mission for STEAM STEM. The DREAM program will become C, and above and beyond will become D. Okay, could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll support. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next up, 5 is the consent agenda. The approval of meeting minutes from January 16th, 2023. Approval of accounts payable in the amount of $644,796.36 for the month of December 2022. Approval of the treasurer's report dated January 31st, 2023 with a balance of $18,459,077.97. And then approval of new hires, transfers, resignations.
So just a couple of new hires, but I'll share, and I know that you know that our food director, Cheryl Cadwell, did take another position. She's very excited about her next, journey, because it's a big change, and she's very much looking forward to it. And then we have the retirement of Mrs. Weiss. Where is Mrs. Weiss? There she is. Shayna has been in this district really since the beginning of her career, and while we knew it would come eventually, it doesn't make it any easier. But we're going to work hard to find a great replacement, and I know that some of you expressed that you would like to give Shayna your thanks while we're talking about her retirement.
I'll start. So, Shayna, when thinking about your retirement, it leaves me with a great deal of ambivalence. On one hand, it's extremely exciting, and your amazing decorated career should definitely be celebrated. But on the other hand, I think about the void that you'll leave for the district. You've done such an amazing job, and I know you just announced it, and there are many more thank yous to come. But for now, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for our kids and our district and our community. You definitely are going to leave some big shoes to fill. Everyone I've ever encountered has shared nothing but their admiration and respect for you, and thank you for everything. And also congratulations.
I'll say something. Shayna knows I'm a crier, so I'm going to try not to. Don't look at me. Congratulations, first of all. You get to spend more time with family. When the fourth graders first moved into this building, my son was that first class, and the emotions that went into that and the worry, everything a parent goes through when a kid is going somewhere that they shouldn't be quite yet, I had. But Shayna, you helped that. You were instrumental in that move, and I appreciate that. I don't think this building would be where it was without you. We haven't been in the district long. I don't know what it was like before, but the amazing things that are happening in this building, I know can be attributed to you, and thank you so much.
I talked to Shana before the meeting, so I'm just gonna say congratulations. You definitely will be very missed.
I will say something. I'm terrible on the spot with words, but I think you know how I feel about you. Shana is just simply amazing. In fact, all of our principals are amazing. We have the best team ever, and I think your shoes are going to be near impossible to fill. The one thing I think I love the most about you is that you've always been you're very friendly and outgoing, but you're also no nonsense. And I respect that as a parent to no end. So thank you for everything, and you definitely will be missed.
I do want to say I appreciate you all your years you've been here and all of your positiveness you've left on everyone, both staff and your students, and how much of you is going to still be here even if you're not here all the time because of such a good job you've done. So thank you. Thank you for all of it, for putting your heart and soul into it, and we are excited for your next journey. It's just sad at the same time. So thank you.
I guess I'll say something. I believe I had you as a teacher just as you were starting off your career, and then you taught many of my children, and just again, your devotion to our district and our community and our kids is just, it's not gone unnoticed, and we appreciate everything that you've done, and especially for me and my family. So thank you, and we will miss you so much.
Okay, Shana, you know, both of my kids were lucky enough to have you as a teacher, and I can tell you that they loved having you as a teacher, and I know they learned so much from you. So, you know, I'm glad that they were able to have you. As a principal, you know, the fourth graders moving to the middle school, I think about that. And, you know, not everybody was super excited about that, but I think the way you handled it, parents felt comfortable with you, entrusting you with the kids, and it went amazingly well for, you know, how difficult of a transition that was going to be. Your staff, I think, respects you tremendously, which is huge. You know, even back when you were a teacher and becoming a principal, I know they really respected you, and that says a lot about you. So we're gonna miss you, but congratulations, and what a career, and how many lives you impacted and made a difference in. So thank you.
Thank you all.
And yep, you're right. We've got several months, thank goodness, before she actually, you know, steps out of that office. We'll be doing a year-end celebration, as we always do, and honoring retirees. Our next steps, we have sent a survey to middle school staff to find out their thoughts about the next leader in their building, and then we'll be posting the position next week.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Laura, could you take roll call vote, please? Yes.
Overgard,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Eberstein,
Yes.
Shoup,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Wilkes,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, next up is reports. First up, A, community input, agenda items only. Jessica, can you check and see if there's any signed up over there, please? Okay. So just before community input, just a reminder, this is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business, and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. So first up is Penny Sumi. Did I say that right?
No, that's okay. It is off the consent agenda, so is there time for that towards the end then?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
If you want, yep, at the end one. Okay. Next up, Eric Curtis.
Good evening. I'll be speaking on behalf as Union President for GAEA tonight for this part. On the agenda is the Superintendent Evaluation Committee report. I've had several teachers come up to me and ask me if the staff is going to be able to get input on that evaluation this year, since we haven't the last couple of years, and whether parents or community members are also going to be able to provide input. We're going to get some communication from you guys on that at some point.
We'll reply, not in the actual board meeting, but.
Okay. All right. And then the other issue, while I'm up here, we currently have I would say 4 open requests with central office that are expired. This is not a new issue. This has been going on for the last 3 years. And it's frustrating that our administrative office and central office cannot comply to state required deadlines for information. I don't know if you guys are aware of the transparency reporting guidance from the state that has to go on the district website. It says current collective bargaining agreement for each bargaining unit. This has to be posted on there within 30 days of it being settled. Our contract was settled on August 11th. You guys know what the penalty is for not having it on the website and updated? It's 10% of your state funding per month. So, if we can't get anywhere with central office, if there's a board member that would be willing to work with us to get this resolved so we can get that on the website so we're in compliance with the state, that would be appreciated, because I don't know where else to go at this point. We also have other outstanding para requests for administrative compensation. The seniority list we got on Friday, and we got some administrative compensation, but it's not completed from what we requested. The attorney fees were sent on time, thank you. And the teacher wages and benefits are due by March 1st. We've given the office a month to put that together. The state requirement is not a month. We need these documents to help us with bargaining our next contract, the financials, and we'd like to get started on that as soon as we can. So we'd appreciate getting those sooner than later. Thank you.
Okay, next up under reports is B, celebration. First up is the Superintendent's Excellence Award.
Right, nobody tell the doctor that I'm cheating, but I'm going to cheat. We are very excited this month to have a student who has been nominated for the Superintendent's Excellence Award, and it is my pleasure to bring up Addison Godey. Come on up, Addison. Out here, so we'll just do both. Okay. So on behalf of the Board of Education, Addison, it's my pleasure to share that Mrs. Speaker, who I think is here, but I lost, there she is, over there, nominated you for the Superintendent's Excellence Award. She tells us that you're 12th grade and that you have the following reasons to be awarded this evening. So Addison is in the top 10. She's been on the honor roll for 4 years. She has also been in the MHSAA band and received a scholarship. Is that right? All right. She's part of also being a biology tutor. She is president of the National Honor Society and National Junior Honor Society president, when you were part of that.
Yes.
And student council president, Interact president, Rocket football cheerleading head coach, and football sideline team captain. Did we miss anything, Addison? Now that is a big career right there. Mrs. Speaker also wants you to know that on top of all of those things, she also volunteers for the Santa Shop, blood drives, bake sales, father-daughter dance, and over 100 volunteer hours just this year alone. Addie, I guess is what Mrs. Speaker likes to call you, Addie is Galesburg-Augusta. She strives so very hard to make sure that the school spirit within the school is not only there, but thrives. Addie goes above and beyond in all that she does here at GA, and Mrs. Speaker thinks it would be a great disservice for her not to receive this award. She's earned it. She has never seen a student so dedicated and loving towards their school. You are highly recommended, and one last statement by Mrs. Speaker that I think a lot of you in this room and also at the high school would agree. She is the epitome of GA. Please help me in celebrating Addison Godey as the school superintendent. We're going to have Taylor come up for a picture.
Okay, but
There's Mom for a picture first.
okay, I'll get a good one. Okay.
But let's get a picture of teacher and any family members. You want to get a picture?
Here, I'll take it for you. No, you want to get in it too? Well, let him do that first. Tim, let them get them first. Never mind.
Okay, how's it going?
Right, here we go. Nope, I'm all set. Thank you. Wendy, do you want to get in with the superintendent's award? And Monica, say cheese on 3. 1, 2, 3, cheese! All right, hold on. Thank you. Thank you.
You know. You just want to be cool as you know it too.
So next up under reports is B, which is going to be the mission statement.
Sorry, Jamie, I'm going to
Yep.
interject one thing just because I'd like to have the board see how this all works.
You want me to?
So as a great tie-in before you hear the experience that our students and staff have had recently, last week many of them actually were in the room when we began working on our mission and vision for STEAM education in Galesburg-Augusta. Prior to the pandemic, Jamie did a lot of, Mr. Kornick did a lot of work, visiting other schools, etc., a lot of research, and found out that a lot of districts offer STEAM education, but his vision for us that he has began to build already is that all students at GA would have STEAM education. And so one of the examples you're going to hear tonight is of a specific grade level and a very highly engaging activity, learning experience. But before that, I think it gives us context. We have most of the teachers in the district who teach some kind of STEM education in the room, and they created an amazing mission statement. And a mission statement tells us our why. Like, why are we doing this, right? It's not just computer science, it's not just engineering, but it really is the foundation of the market. So I it's not. Wow. You want to tell me that a little sooner. I'm going to pass down a couple of copies. I don't know if I need enough, but if not, I will find more. All right, is it up now? Okay. So our mission, you look at that? Our mission at GA is that all K-12 students, through authentic, hands-on, engaging learning experiences, will develop skills such as innovation, critical thinking. So sorry. I'm trying to not make it look so fun. There we go. There we go. Ownership, creativity, curiosity, resiliency, and then rather than use the word fail, because we know we have to fail to make it to the next place, we'd like to call it healthy struggling, because that's what innovation is all about. And we want to develop these skills in kids in order to be successful in an ever-changing job market. So as you listen to the next presentation, think about which of these characteristics and skills you are beginning to hear our own GA students develop. And it's not just a couple, it ultimately will be all. And there are several people we want to commend tonight because they're helping to make that happen in our community. Jamie, you can now take over.
Yes, next up under reports is, yes, the DREAM program presentation.
I could have all my student ambassadors come up and join me, and actually our volunteers from Eden Cummins could join us up here too, if you don't mind. And Mr. Washburn, I believe I saw you as well, which I know is a full house. Where do you want us to phone? Oh, anywhere is fine. So certainly I could talk about this all day, but I think it means so much more coming from our students that went through this first cohort of the DREAM program and what our district is doing within STEAM. And so I'll give you a little bit of background in this. So I'm on the advisory board for Michigan MySTEM Southwest region. So that's 5 counties. And a big push at the state level through MySTEM is authentic STEAM experiences for kids. This would not have been possible without our incredible business partners and community partners at Eden Cummins. From the financial support to their volunteerism to their time. And so what we're going to do really quickly is I'm just going to walk you through really quickly kind of the background. Then our student ambassadors are going to go through each of the 7 stages and share their experience. And then I'm just going to ask for the volunteers from Eden Cummins to kind of share from their perspective what things were like. And so just give you a little bit of background, and I'll go through this pretty quickly. So this is the DREAM program. The idea is that we believe that all kids are naturally creative and that all classrooms should be filled with creativity and wonder. We know it's getting harder and harder in all schools today because of the rigor of the academic rigor, which is so important, but we believe that creative thinking is just as vital as math, reading, and writing. And so, traditionally, the model was you work hard at school, go to college, graduate from college, get into a business or corporation, and climb the ladder over time. But what we're finding out now is it's much less like a ladder and much more like a maze. And so we've got to do a better job of helping our students be prepared for the jobs of the 21st century economy. And one of the things that we talked about, we're preparing our kids for jobs that may not even exist yet. That's something we talked about at our STEAM meeting recently. So why the DREAM program? Why was this important for our district? If you look at what the National Association of Colleges and Employers are looking for in the next workforce, what are they wanting to see? Problem-solving skills, working as a team, work ethic, communication, leadership. These are all the kind of things that they practice in school, but things that are explicitly taught within this DREAM program, this experience. Okay? So it is 3P, it is project-based, so there's a beginning and end project. Its place. They actually went multiple times to the campus of Eden Cummins throughout the process, and it is also problem-based. They were given an authentic problem that the people at Eden Cummins are currently facing and charged with solving that problem through a very systematic way. So they go through this creative sequence. It's basically just a systematic way to kind of creatively solve problems. And now I will hand it over to our student ambassadors. So Riley's going to start off. Riley Bailey, would you tell us a little about your experience on the observation stage? These kids are all really nervous, so give them a big round of applause. Get them going. There you go. So while she's sharing, I'm just going to have some pictures going in the background so you can see the kind of things that she's talking about. Riley, go ahead.
So first, we identified personal strengths and team strengths, and then we went and toured their place, and we got to see their work areas and and we got to see some of their transmissions, and then we went to their trucks and we got to look at their trucks, and then we got to go inside of their trucks.
You're great. There's a lot of slides on this first one. I'm sorry. That's on me. That's not on you. All right. Riley, you were amazing. Give her a applause. All right. Next up, we have Harper Shoup on the investigation stage.
So first we started by thinking about prototypes that that they might need to use to help their product, but then we built it on paper so we could learn what we could do for the project.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harper. Oh, you're great. All right, now Taylor Earls and Sophia Davis for calibration stage.
Okay, at least I didn't know. No. Oh my God, okay, fine.
You guys were pretty awesome.
So in this stage, we basically talked about our questions in our groups, and we tried to make them better to ask the Eaton Commons people, so we could learn more about what they did and how they did it, and learning about the place.
And we also talk with people, say should we build this or ask these questions, and we got together with them and we asked all our questions for them, and we got some answers, and then yeah.
That was awesome. Excellent. Just so you know, that piece of paper I just handed you is kind of a skeletal framework of what they've done. But they're doing a phenomenal job. All right, Josh Fawcett on the incubation stage.
He started.
And also.
First, we had to brainstorm several ideas.
Then we had to sort each of those ideas into 3 categories.
Expected, crazy, and groundbreaking.
After that, we used the test, which stands for the NUF test, which stands for
New, useful, feasible.
to grade our ideas.
Finally, we used dot coding to pare down our ideas.
Each of us had a set of stickers to mark our favorite ideas.
That was awesome. You guys are amazing. All right, next up is our solution stage, which is Evan. Come on up, Evan. Let's go.
It feels so much better to
Got this.
So this is where we prioritized all the solutions and selected our
top 2 to 3 using the enough test that they stole. That's everything I have.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Good job. Excellent. All right. Is Ray here? Okay. Her mom called me. She wasn't feeling well. She still wanted to come tonight, but obviously she must not still be feeling well. So basically, in the decision stage, they took their top 2 to 3 ideas. Volunteers from Eaton Cummins came back to our school. The kids presented informally to them and got some real-time feedback from the people who were actually facing these problems on a day-to-day basis to help guide their selection for their final solution. So, let's see. And then the final, let's see, we've got Grace and Kirby. Come on.
So the next stage we had was called the validation stage, where we actually presented our ideas to each and one of, to all of you, and had to figure out ideas for you guys that actually try and use and see if they were any good or not.
Awesome. How about a big round of applause for all of our student athletes. This is the actual validation where they actually got to perform in front of an athletic audience. You guys can all have a seat, student ambassadors. You were amazing. We'll just pass it over to the Eaton Commons volunteers. I know it's nothing like putting people on the spot with a microphone. Just share your experience.
We just wanted to say that the students did an amazing job. It was a great experience for us as staff. We had over, I want to say, out of 140 people that are actually at our building in Galesburg. We have others that are in other states. Around 40 to 42 of them volunteered for this throughout each stage. So our whole company and organization was very much behind this. We have leadership here representing tonight. The students did amazing. It was great to watch the presentations. And sometimes this was the first time for some of them to present in front of a lot of people. I even have a hard time presenting, like right now, in front of a lot of people. So they did an amazing job. We're super proud of them. But I'll pass this on to Rob. You want to say anything? Introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm Rob Knightsky. I'm one of the general managers of the Eaton Cummins joint venture. So it's an interesting joint venture between Cummins and Eaton, and we've got two general managers, one from the Cummins side and one from the Eaton side at any given point. It's kind of like the checks and balances almost in the governance of the business. And so I'm from the Cummins side, and then every 3 years it flip-flops. But Cummins has got a long history of corporate responsibility, helping improve communities that we do business in. So when we started this business with Eaton up here in Michigan, this is one of our first chances. We're from southern Indiana, if you know Cummins, down in Columbus, Indiana. So that's where most of my experience was, but this is a great chance for me to learn some new people in Michigan and help out. I'm a Purdue graduate. Sorry for all the Michigan State folks, but I'm a real world example of how this program is awesome. Because when I was a little kid, we didn't have any sort of structure to this kind of problem solving. It wasn't until I got into college and things that we really started to structure all this chaos of all these great ideas that kids have. I guess you can just imagine if I would have had this kind of stuff back then, just how much further we'd be now. So I just was really excited to be part of this. And my favorite story is just kind of a joke. Me and the other, you can imagine myself from the Cummins side and my counterpart from the Eaton side. We kind of have a little bit of a competition going on. Kind of have fun with each other. But when we had all the kids in the big room, he's from Poland, and he was trying to describe to these kids how to pronounce his name. His name is W-A-L-D-E-K. So you think it's Waldeck, but in Polish it's pronounced Waldeck. You can't pronounce the W like a V. And the kids were like, "You mean like Voldemort?" New nickname for our new general manager.
My name is Missy, and I am the executive assistant for Rob and Baldeck. So yes, they definitely do. They definitely do have a back and forth. But I would just like to say thank you to Jamie and to the entire school district, because not only was it so much fun to have the kids in, our building and everything and come learn what we do a little bit, but it was amazing for us as employees too. And it kind of just brought everything right back down to the basics, and made us realize, what kids right now are going through, and just, different things like that. I mean, when the kids got there, they were so excited that they could sit in this big, giant conference room, and the chairs twisted. Sometimes it's just the little things, and it was so nice. We really enjoyed having them all.
So my name is Lorenzo de Souza. I lead the hands-on learning program with the school, and a dream project was part of our group. So we have a team of about, I think there were around 14 to 16 volunteers that came here. Wouldn't have been able to do it without them. Leadership as well to support us all the way through. Takes a lot of time and effort, but it really helps to see the fruit at the end of this, because we spent, as we said, we spent a lot of time hoping that the processes that we have experienced at work come through at school. And as an engineer, I saw some of it. It was really amazing for me. The NUP test, as you mentioned, something that we scale down these ideas and say, this is really good. So it's really nice to see the kids doing it now rather than later. And it can be applied not only for engineering, but anything you do, it can work on life. So it was really fulfilling. Thanks to the leadership and the school for trusting your students with us. Had a great time. Pizzas, sandwiches, all that other stuff as well. But, thank you.
One more. And sorry, I forgot to introduce who I was. I'm Kelsey. I'm actually in HR for the ECJD. But we have our counterparts here at Eaton, the actual Eaton Corporation. This wouldn't have been possible without them helping us with building. We rent from them, our business rents from them. But they were gracious enough, a little swaying, right after COVID, to let a whole group of fifth graders come in and spend time with us. And just amazing. So thank you to them as well. Throw that out there.
My name is Steve Washburn, and I do not work at Eaton. From the teacher's perspective, a couple of things that you should know. This was supposed to happen in 2020, and for Eaton Cummins and Jamie to keep the enthusiasm and the interest for 3 years before we could actually do it is pretty amazing, and just want to say that we appreciate that. And also, with any kind of a field trip or out-of-school experience, we try to make sure that it's connected to standards and it's meaningful and it's memorable. And all those kinds of field trips do that. This went a step beyond. It really did, because it's seeing adults do their jobs and explain a problem to a kid, and hearing a kid come up with some really interesting ideas. Some may or may not work, but interesting ideas. And it really, I think, was impactful, I guess is a way to describe it. So I appreciate it, and it really was meaningful.
Thanks so much. I just want to thank them again, because that wouldn't be possible without the teachers and their flexibility. That was incredible. The goal is over time to expand this to other grade levels. This is the first level, so we want to kind of see how it went with other businesses maybe in the area. But it really was an amazing overall experience. And when I talked to one of the employees at Eaton Cummins, I asked him if I was to try to communicate this as a possibility for other businesses, for other grade levels, what's the sell? And he said, honestly, morale. He goes, I'm an engineer. I got 5 or 6 different projects going on at the same time right now. And I get done with one project, and then I'm on to the next project. Because in front of these kids, he goes, I feel like a rock star. That's something I've never felt like. Just really quickly, because I know this is supposed to be a celebration of the middle school, just a couple of things I want to mention really quickly. Number one, just 2 things. Last year, our middle school gave over 30 site visits for school districts and research from around the state of Michigan. We'll be doing consulting pro bono with districts and colleges all year. Those 3 dates I will email you, but Board of Education or anyone else that's interested to join us on those dates, we're doing them by county now based on demand. And the last thing I want to mention really quickly is we have a brand new partnership with Yale University, which is really, really exciting. I presented to the to Michigan Department of Education, and they connected us with Yale after a couple of virtual meetings. They're going to support us a little bit financially, access to their mental health systems, and help us figure out how we can more effectively support both our kids and our adults. So that's really, really exciting. So that is it from me. And then, yes. Oh, no, I'm ready to do that now. That's all right. Okay. Well, so I'm going to do the above and beyond right now. And so while I have you, let's see. Who do we do first? Let's do Eden since this is right. Shay, would you and your partner here come on up? So this is our above and beyond. We're going to give out 2 tonight, 1 to Eden and 1 to Eden Cummins, and I'll try to do this quickly because I know we got a heavy schedule here. This past fall, Galesburg-Augusta Middle School was committed to transforming our empty in-school suspension room into Maslow's Boutique and Pantry, a space where we can work to normalize and destigmatize the fulfillment of a large percentage of our population and meeting their most essential needs, knowing that once those basic needs are met, they'll have a greater opportunity for academic success. Our building created a very detailed wish list requesting $3,434 to make our dream a reality. After submitting our request to the Community Involvement Committee at Eden, a week later they sent us a check for $5,000. And as if that wasn't enough, a few days later, Shay of Anson of Eden here, she contacted me and said, you know what, we've got a bunch of returnables just piling up in our storehouse. You want to come get those, you can. We partnered actually with the high school senior class. Melissa Godey took all those back for us. It was an amazing undertaking. That was another $150. Then a couple of days later after that, I got another email from Shay telling her that she would be orchestrating a United Way campus-wide drive along with Eden Cummins and requested our highest need items for food and clothing. And a couple weeks later, we collected 3 massive boxes of food and clothing. And they told us if we needed another drive, they'll organize one for us. And so this is why Shay and the rest of them at Eden certainly are exemplary of above and beyond. And so we're going to give them this Partnership and Community Award because it's corporations kind of partnering with our community. And then I've always wanted to do this. We have a novelty check that I'm going to have them hold up if you would. And then if somebody would take a photo for me, that would be great.
Maybe if I might.
Yes, of course.
Also from the district, we want to give you our above and beyond pin. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Thank you.
Just
cut in front of me.
Yep.
Oxford style.
Awesome. Big round of applause for Eden. Thank you so much for what you do for our kids. All right, if the Eden Cummins people would come back up one last time, I promise this is it for you guys. Would you take one of these past comments and just like an overview of what they've done for us? Wow.
Oh, thanks.
So I don't even know where to begin. I can't tell you how much this partnership has meant to our community, so I tried to put some words on paper so that I wouldn't miss anything. As we enter the 3rd full year of our community STEAM partnership with Eden Cummins Automated Transmission Technologies, we look back with gratitude and appreciation for all the incredible things that this institution has done for our students in our community. Since February of 2020, Eden Cummins has provided junior achievement in grades 2 through 4, provided hands-on learning support in grades K through 5, partnered in our first ever cohort of the DREAM program for all 5th grade students, sponsored all 7th grade students to attend Battle Creek Battlejack STEAM Fair and a baseball game, sponsored all 7th and 8th grade girls to attend the Girls STEAM Dream Fair at Western Michigan University, conducted middle school lunch and learns, exposing our students to high demand STEAM careers, sponsored the first ever Galesburg-Augusta Middle School robotics team this fall in 2023, creating a tech day at Eden Cummins for all high school freshmen, provided job shadowing opportunities for our high school juniors, sponsored and provided volunteers from our high school robotics team, 2 separate Cummins Foundation grants totaling $60,000 for our district to support district STEAM initiatives. Words can truly not express how much we appreciate and value your time, leadership, and generosity. So thank you, Eden Cummins, for everything that you do for our kids and community. All right, and again, my favorite, the novelty check.
And if you don't mind, real quick.
Yep.
Sorry.
Jamie, you turn
I'll get
around.
mine.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 for me. I got it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Oh, this is thank you letters from all the kids. They wanted to write those and give those to you.
We do want to say one thing. None of this would have been possible without partnering with Jamie. Jamie has been absolutely amazing. He's kept us together. Want to give him a huge round of applause.
That's very kind. Thank you guys.
Can I just ask the kids one question? What was it that you had to do? What was that, what do they call it? The driving question. I'm not sure I heard the driving question. What was it?
There were 4 of them.
4 of them. Can you tell us all of them? Or somebody help us.
One for each class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us one.
I know
In their defense, it's been a couple months.
Maybe Mr. Washburn.
One of the questions was, because they have people they work with in other countries, how do you communicate if you have certain needs or if you have certain problems, how can you effectively communicate with other non-English speaking?
Nice. That's a great question. How about somebody else?
So, one class it was some truck companies buy our competitors' products and how can we persuade them to buy our products?
Okay. Nice. Somebody else?
How can you make the current workspace more fun and collaborative between employees?
Cool. Very good question. Somebody remember number 4? Well, that does give our Board of Education quite an eye-opening to what our 5th grade has been doing, and I know that Jamie's excited to bring it to other grade levels, so good job 5th grade, and teachers for taking on another initiative. Thank you, 5th grade teachers.
Thank you all so much.
No offense.
No, you are good to go. Thank you.
Tell your children to go.
I know.
Thank you, Mrs. Ray. You're welcome.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. Cornick. Lots of amazing things happening. Next up under reports is C, Esports. Mrs. O'Donnell.
Thank you all. That's going to be a hard group to follow, but you know, I feel like there's a trend. Like STEAM. Do I have to use the mic?
Yeah,
yes.
probably. It's hard to hear in here.
That's okay. Is it okay if I stand? That's fine. Just a quick little snippet of information that y'all might want to know is that one of my classes is actually partnering with Eaton Cummins to do like a career readiness day where my class is going to go to Eaton Cummins and they're going to like interview and show their resume and that sort of stuff. So another opportunity that Eaton Cummins has just been phenomenal in implementing their life skills into our student body. So I'm here to present about the possibility of an esports team. I'll be honest, the students said, "Can you please do this for us?" And I was like, "Yes, I will. I will make sure the board knows that you all want this." So first slide here, I put up QR codes all throughout the school and had students tell me, "Are you interested? Is this something that you want?" And how many students want this? If it's going to be 5 students out of 350, I don't know if the efforts would be worth it, but obviously we got 37 students interested in. esports, and 12 of those were girls, which was mind-blowing to me. Just for reference, our football team has 20 to 25 students on it. So if we were to get this up and running, I guarantee that it would probably be 50 to 60 students by the second year. Look at that. So the esports team is held through Michigan High School Esports League. They are exclusively a varsity league, but the MHSAA has not adopted esports as a varsity team quite yet. So they're still trying to work that out on that level. But MHSEL is who kind of coordinates all of the teams and the matches and all that. So what is an esports team? Most people are going to say, oh, it's just a bunch of kids playing video games. That's not the case. There is strategy that goes behind this. There's a lot of implementation of skills that we learn in the classroom that will be a part of this club as well. So there's, I would say, about 10 games that the students would have the option of playing. A couple of them. I emailed this slideshow to you all just to let you know, so you have it in your emails. But a lot of the students are interested in these sort of games. They're playing them at home. And if we can bring that into the, not into the classroom, but into an after-school program, they're already doing it at home. Why not have them build that camaraderie with their peers and do it here at the school? All games are played in what's called Play Versus, Play VS, and all of the games are rated T for teen. They have to be 13 and above. So I'm not sure if some of our 8th graders would be able to qualify and play, but 9th through 12th grade for sure. All of the chats and streams are monitored by Play Versus, so there's no swearing, no bullying, or you're removed and you don't get to play for the rest of the season. There's a 0 tolerance for bullying, swearing, anything of the sorts. And that's strictly monitored for every match, every gameplay. They have to log into Play Versus before they can even get up and running. So there's that security feature there. I think I went over this. So why an esports team? Like I said, they're already playing it at home. We might as well just let them do it with their friends at the school. I noticed that Jamie had a couple of these keywords as well. So we have, in esports, they require critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity every single time they log on. Even if they're not playing, they're still collaborating with their peers, they're strategizing, they're saying, oh, you should do this move, you should try this path. It's amazing what these kids can come up with. But there's that social environment that most of these kids might not have. And that's what's going to matter the most. So talking about the global games market, this was from, I think, 2018. So obviously this has grown, I think, to almost 250 billion in the last 2 years. So this, I think 2020 and 2021 were projections, and I think we're at almost $250 billion in mobile games, PCs, and consoles. So it's obviously a growing industry, and we need to jump on the trend of getting these students that experience with working with others and possibly even going to college for this sort of stuff. So this is a cool fact. I went to a conference, and this is how I learned about all this esports stuff, that 45% of students that are in an esports team have not done any other extracurricular activity ever. K through 12. They've never participated in any other sport, National Honor Society, student council, club, anything. So this is a great opportunity for those students to get involved and to really get their social skills kind of heightened up a little bit. There's also some teaching standards that are involved in esports and education. I'll let you read that on your own time, not take up too much of your time. But basically, tons of colleges and universities are offering esports. There's tons of programs out there. The programs are really growing too. So these are a couple of the standards beyond the classroom that esports embodies. So empowering each learner, that digital citizenship piece that kind of grows from middle school up. you're creating knowledge and constructing that mind frame of here's how I need to make these levels grow in order to win this match. An innovative designer, a computational thinker, creative communicator, and global collaborator. So here's what we're going to require of the students. They're not just going to get off all easy peasy. We're going to treat this like a sport. So they'll have to choose a game or more. Right now, if they were to get into one game per season, which is like either spring or fall, they would be paying $80 per student per game per season. So if they wanted to do fall and spring, if they wanted to do more than one game, that would be an additional $80 on top of it. There's also discounts for early registration. I think it bumps it down to like $60 rather than $80. So if we can get them hooked in early, that'd be greater. If we have a student who's signed up for a Nintendo game, Play Versus will donate a Nintendo Switch to our team. So that's like a $350 cost savings. Students will practice 1 day per week per game after school with an adult supervision. I had talked to Mr. Marasco about, the MHSAA is not wanting to do a varsity sport because students aren't up and active enough. And this is Playverse and MHSCL's way of saying, nope, we can fit it around your schedule. If you're playing one game, then okay, we're going to have matches on Monday for that game. And then you can do your school sports Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or if you have a game that plays on Tuesday, then you have all the other days of the week, and hopefully your schedule can work around that. It's only 1 day per week for each game. And then students would be required to meet the MHSAA school standards, so keeping their grades up, attending school, just like football, volleyball, basketball. If they don't have that 2.5, sorry, you're not going to get to compete in your match. And then, since this is the student's unique way of putting a little spin on the varsity letter, they would like to have a pinning ceremony rather than a varsity letter. That way they can wear that pin on their jacket saying that, yes, this is something I participated in, this is a group that I'm a part of, I'm proud of it, and we'll have certain parameters that the students have to reach for each game, that the coach, there's like positions for student coaches and assistant captains and captains for each of these different the different games, that they'll set those parameters. By all means, I am not a video game person, so that would be something that the students and the coach would definitely sit down and talk about. What's it going to take to get that pin? Because it has to be something high to achieve. I talked about the cost to play for a little bit. There are also discounts for all girl teams. So if those 12 girls wanted to link up and create a 4-player team, they could actually get their registration completely waived. So this is our ask. We would like the commitment to sports students in this program, just as much as basketball, football, volleyball, have as much enthusiasm and vigor for esports, just like we do the football and basketball teams. We would like to upgrade and have the accessibility to do these sort of things in my computer lab at the high school. I know that Ben, our IT guy, the last time I talked to him, he was talking with a couple other schools to see what that would take. But most of the students will be bringing in their consoles or equipment into the school to play on after school during those practice times. And then in the future, if approved by the MHSAA, a coaching position, like a paid coaching position, just like football and basketball and volleyball, and then have it be, varsity letter, that whole thing as well. I think that was it. So yeah, if you could please help us in supporting this adventure, we greatly appreciate it. Any questions for me?
I'm so excited about this. I know my kid came home and he was like, "Guess what Mr. Donald's gonna do?" And he plays, a lot of different sports. So I think that you'll see a lot of kids engaging with kids that they don't normally engage with, and maybe you'll see some of those kids that haven't played sports come out and play on some of the other sporting teams. I know the other day, I think it was funny, after the basketball game on the bus ride, he was like, I didn't know Chris, my teammate, collects Funko Pops too. So I think those conversations help them find things that they have in common. And then I know, like, in a lot of our college tours, all the colleges have any sports.
Yeah, there's tons of scholarships available right now.
And I think that it would be really good, especially like when it's at the younger level, to have it monitored. Because I know, like, sometimes I hear a lot of screaming from my basement. So maybe it will teach them to play better. You know,
Yeah, I've already seen some of that socializing just from that that questionnaire. Are you interested? A lot of the names that popped up, I'm like, what? Like, you would never peg that person for, you know, wanting to be a part of an esports team. And then they talk to each other. Hey, did you hear about Miss O'Donnell presenting about the esports league? Oh yeah, I play this game. What game do you play? And then there's that collaboration between all of the students that it just invigorates the body, the school, you know, the school community, the school body, that they want to be active and involved and being around their peers just like everyone else.
Couple quick questions.
Yeah.
Do you know what the seasons actually are? Like what?
So there's a fall and a spring season. Unfortunately, the spring season started February 5th, so we could still have practices and kind of like get the students involved in creating and growing this esports team. I think that would be our best step to do for this semester, and then maybe start with competitions in the fall. And I think it's November and December only. I want to say that it's only 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one more quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, like you talked about, they would only have to do it one day.
Mm-hmm.
So if they chose one game, it would be 1 day a week.
Right.
But kids could choose multiple days. So
Absolutely.
the availability of the adult being there,
Yeah.
you know, potentially is multiple days.
Right, and it could be, you know, an approved volunteer that signs a parent form to volunteer in the school. I know that I had 3 students that said, oh, my dad would be willing to volunteer if you needed a volunteer. So I think we have a lot of parents that would back the students in regards to that.
Perfect.
And this would help a lot of students that GPAs are a little squeaky. So they, like, because I have some boys that are like, what is this?
Yeah, they want to do it, but their GPAs are kind of low, and it's
like,
like, it's that push to, okay, well, if you want to be a part of this, then you got to get your assignments turned in, you got to get your grades up, and then you can be a part of this. And really, there's one student in particular that wants to be the captain. He wants to be in charge of it all, but his GPA is really low. And I said, well, time to step up. If you're a senior and you have a low GPA, it's time to get your feet moving and get those assignments turned in so that you can be that team captain.
Awesome. I had 2 questions.
Yeah.
First one's, can you hear me? Yeah. First one is, do you know of any other local schools around here that are doing this?
So Schoolcraft and Comstock do it. I want to say Battle Creek was looking into it. They were at the same conference that I was at, and I was sitting right next to her. But I was sitting right next to her. So, yeah.
And then the second question, you said there's actually scholarships and such for this. So I'm assuming there's actually like a regional competition at some point and a state competition?
Yes. So the state of Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, and part of Ohio are all involved in the MHSEL. So it's a specific league that I think there's 185 schools that compete, even in the UP. The guy that presented said that there was more schools in the UP per like square foot or square area, square mile than in the lower peninsula. So I think they needed something to do. But
I still have one follow-up question.
Yeah.
So, but all this would still be done even like at the regional and state level remotely from our school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. There are opportunities to travel. Central Michigan University just had a match there, and they have like this grand arena with like stadium seating in a room like this, and it's pretty cool to watch. But it's optional. You don't have to go to those. Everything is remote.
Is there training for the coach?
Yes. Yeah, you can. There's like different tiers of coach training. So there's the head coach and practice coaches, those sort of things.
So a lot of the time, sorry.
You're fine.
I know a lot about it.
She's a gamer.
So we're kind of like a team. So a lot of the times the coaches will play with the kids too, because obviously we're way superior at our coaching skills with gaming, and will never be beat. But the students, like even like the coach can be in the game to be like, okay, I see you're doing this, so they're also helping the students out with strategizing and planning and that too.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
For putting it together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope this is an opportunity that we can provide to students. It'd be great. If I could get your feedback, I sent you all the PowerPoint, and if you want to read through it a little bit further, I know there's some links in the PowerPoint that you can click on and get some more details as well.
I love that this encompasses so much more of our student body than just the athletes. Like,
right.
I have one of those, right? I get it. He likes video games. This is right up his alley. I think this is great, especially like you said, for pulling kids' grades up. They're gonna say, okay, now I can be part of something.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in sports on a field, but I can be part of something in this family that we have at GA.
We have
something I'm proud of. I like it.
We also have quite a few. We have quite a few special education students that are like highly interested in this, as well as those students that have disabilities that may not be able to play sports because they have one kidney or some other physical disability that's preventing them from playing sports.
And you're up next.
We are up next.
We are up next. So up next is the High School Student Council. Monica is the speaker.
Yep.
And Elaine O'Donnell again.
So we didn't have really a presentation. I did send, I believe, the Student Council school board presentation to you all maybe a month or so ago. And we wanted to know if you had any questions for us and how we can get this moving, because this is something that our students are looking for, to have new seating in the classrooms and new water fountains in the high school. They come here to games or they go to the primary and see their little sisters and brothers and they see the differences and they feel kind of ostracized. So we're hoping that we can get this going with maybe some questions for you and see how we can make this work.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
The water thing really bothers me because I drink a lot of water.
Oh, me too.
Is there any of the bottle fill stations in the high school?
There are bottle fill stations, but because I have kidney issues, I have to drink copious amounts of water, and I refuse. I'm sorry to drink the water because I just can tell that there's lots of calcium in it for me personally, and so I buy my packs of 24 waters, bring them in. But the water, there are fill stations, but it's the quality of the water that is. The kids are like, Mrs. Speaker, can I have a water? I'm the drinking fountain now.
Yeah, with my school store orders, I buy packs of water for the students that are coming from gym and say, Ms. O'Donnell, can I please have a bottle of water? And that's, I spend $20 out of my own pocket each month so that these students can have
good water.
Can you remind me if we compared it to the water quality of the other two buildings? Or we did not?
No, we did testing at our building to make sure that there weren't any crazy spikes, and we did quality
but
tests.
the kids come here, they've been to the middle school and the elementary, and there's a huge difference, and they're telling us this, so and there's specific drinking fountains that they're like, we refuse to go to this.
They know.
They know.
So I'm wondering if, like we set up a facilities committee meeting or not, yeah.
And I know that ESSER funds do cover the drinking fountains. I don't know what our ESSER funds look like. Thank you, Philip, for sending me that for my students, but I haven't looked at it yet. So that's an option. There's students that have issues with the seating at the high school as well. The wraparound chairs are not meant for 6'5" men.
What is he? 7'3"? Yeah.
So maybe in the next year we can get new seating for the high school students. But I think our main priority right now is the drinking fountains, especially for people who come to the sports events and want to fill up their own water bottles. It kind of looks bad.
We have been talking about seating, furniture. We know it needs to happen. It's on the list. If we have funds left over with a bond project,
that'd be wonderful.
We don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we have been talking with Lindsay about that and with Frank. So part of it, as you know, would be taking a look at costs and then kind kind of seeing prioritizing for the future.
Well, because the chairs that we currently have right now in the majority of the classrooms are broken. I mean, well, they are old, so that's something that we have to consider as well. I mean, I have chairs in my classroom that I'm like, don't sit in that one. So, and that's an issue for some of our bigger kids that, you know, we don't want them to splail on the floor.
So I think, yeah, and I mean, I know we got the the kids were there, the presentation, you know. It's just a matter of, it's all mainly facilities related, so I think, yeah, maybe setting up a facilities committee. So,
Would you like us to come to that, or?
Facility committee meetings are, well, all committee meetings are open to the public, so.
Okay. Well, if we can answer any other questions via email, or if you have any questions right now. Okay.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up under reports is Food Service Director.
Yeah. So I shared with you, I think a couple times now, that we did lose our food service director. So Philip and I spent some time, thanks ladies, thank you, talking with and about Chartwell's. What we found, so there are different third-party companies that do food service. What we're looking for is something that can happen now. And what we found out when we met with Troy from Chartwell's is that the MDE will give you kind of a emergency permit for, I think it was 60 days, I would say, so that we have someone directing the program. And then MDE will help us do an RFP, a request for proposal, to look at other companies, just like we might do for transportation, etc. And I have all my notes right here, so I'm just going to go real quick. And so one of the questions, that, well, actually I'll share with you, Charles asked us what our priorities would be if, and in fact, we ultimately went with some third party, whether it was them or someone else, and that's down the road. And really, it's the sustainability of our food service fund, right? Sorry, put that over there. Because we do have a good fund balance that allows us to buy equipment, etc., and we do have some old equipment. So if we were to move forward with a different company who would direct the program, as well as staff sustainability, and we want to keep our staff energized. We have a lot of staff here who are super excited about being here. The other piece that I've heard from you and others is food priority. What kind of menu? I'll just give you a statistic. Because Chartwell's is the largest food purchaser in the world, they have over 10,000 menu items. Like, wow, that's a lot. But in any case, that's just one company. But food priority for menus, and then participation rates. One of the things we would like to see is that more students actually eat breakfast and lunch. We have a long ways to go to get more kids doing that. And so one of the things that Philip and I, we should be able to bring in a company just temporarily, and then we'll be working with MDE to set up an RFP. And we'll get your feedback. But I just wanted to share some things. For example, the community lunch program where everybody can eat free. That's something that a company like Chartwell's will help you do. They will help you work with the farm to table kind of thing, where you can look at local farmers who can come in and do work. And because they're the largest food purchaser, they get discounts on their food, and that's how they're able to save the district money and put more money into that fund balance, so that some of the equipment that we have is able to be fixed or replaced. Again, so we're going to look into it, but in the meantime, we do want to put someone in place, and Chartwell's can do that for temporary. It's not any long-term and then go to MDE and ask them, how do we go about taking a look at if there are other companies that can come in and do this? They do have the capacity, because they're a large organization, to run a food program that, because they have the personnel, the other layer, to really improve what we're doing and serving for kids. Philip, you worked with a district, I can't remember which one, I know it starts with a C. Was it Coloma, maybe, somewhere? Centerville, okay. They were running a deficit in their food service budget, and once this company came in, they then had a fund balance. And a lot of that is by increasing the participation of students. And a big way that they do that, or maybe the biggest way, is by offering a more a varied approach to food. They do a lot of food trials with kids. They look at what students want to do. They have a couple of programs for that. And so I would like to see us reach out and look at some of those companies. And also for the meantime, because we do have to get through the rest of the year, look at having companies that sustain for this year, our menu and products, etc. So that's, if you have questions, I have more notes on it, but, or Philip can,
I have one question. So, you said this company has helped with food, the fund balance. We really haven't had an issue with that. So, haven't heard why go this route as opposed to posting it like you would have done in the past.
That's a great question. So we have not had a lot of success with getting food directors in the district. They're hard to come by, and they also have to have a skill set in MDE and what that is required there. There's a lot of training involved. And I think that having that experience where they're increasing participation of kids, they actually cook on site. That's something that we don't do. In fact, there was talk about getting rid of ovens, whereas this company will actually cook right on site. In fact, they call it scratch cooking. So they make their own pizzas. They're far healthier. So one of the things we have is a list of different districts that are very close and very small. And a couple of them I've already kind of gotten into their website to know how and why. It really is to improve what we're doing over what we have been doing. And that's
and
the
this
value.
Is just for the food service director, not
yes,
for...
it's for the food service director. Yep,
so
that's exactly right.
Okay.
The staff stay our staff, and that would be in the RFP. So yeah, it's just finding the director and being able to take advantage of their large organization that can provide us better service.
And I know that we haven't got the RFP or whatever, but you expect it would be close to $20,000, like what we pay the food service director in the past.
So the food service director is more expensive coming from Chartwell's, but because of the rebates they get for food as well as the increased participation, as the example that Philip just gave, when they had their own in-house, they were running deficits, and when they brought the company in, they were running balances, fund balance additions, and they had the same situation. So in terms of the cost, you're getting more for that cost, menu-wise, etc. So I'm going to send you actually the information packet, and I'm going to send you the video that talks to a couple of local superintendents. And this is a beginning conversation, obviously, but we are going to look at, we're going to talk to MD what we can do in the meantime so that we have things moving forward, etc., without a food service director. Make sense? Philip, anything that I might have missed from the meeting or didn't say exactly right?
Yep. What are we doing right now without a food service director?
So right now, I'm just working with kitchen managers. They're doing the day-to-day stuff. Cheryl is coming in just a couple hours a week to make sure that people are paid and that the reimbursements go into the state. So the rest of it, are things that can kind of just stay where they are as far as like all the menus have been made up. we have to look at if students apply for free and reduced. That's something right now that she can do once a week. So she's doing her full-time job and then coming in on weekends.
And she's committed to do that until we figure it out.
Correct.
So I definitely say, Wendy said she's going to send out the information. Questions, definitely, get those sent to her so she can work on getting the answers to that. Okay, next up under reports is curriculum and instruction update.
Good evening. I just wanted to highlight a few of the updates that I shared with you in my extensive board report. I gave you a lot of updates on some of the things that have been going on in the district. One of the things I wanted to highlight is that our winter assessment window has closed, and we conducted data reviews in reading and in math. And lots of things to celebrate. And so I just wanted to let you know that in terms of the middle school, we've broadened that piece of extension. We have a couple teachers running literature circles to extend opportunities for kids that might not need that intervention. So I wanted to highlight that for you. I also wanted to highlight for you the PD that's been taking place at the middle school, and just want to give a lot of accolades to the high school teachers. Lindsay has done a great job at keeping an unwavering focus on engagement. Amy and I did a PD, I think it was a couple weeks ago, and then we just did the follow-up last week. And we're focused on 2 instructional strategies of graphic organizers and hooks. So a graphic organizer is really to help kids to note take, synthesize their learning so that they can be able to apply it in extension. And then hooks are to grab those kids into the lessons that are about to happen and really get them interested. And I just have lots of examples that Lindsay was able to pull from different classrooms, and I just really appreciative and just applaud the high school teachers for being open. They've been so collaborative with one another. And Lindsay's kept a great focus on the building on engagement. So I wanted to celebrate the high school. And then the other piece that I wanted to highlight was in regards to the primary. So I know you've heard me talk about their instructional rounds process. That started in 2018 when they were a part of a Hill grant. I worked with Western at that time and was their facilitator. And other than a brief hiatus during COVID, we've really kept that process going. And we have been focused on writing, and we've just seen lots and lots of celebrations with writing in the K-3. So I just brought some samples. We had one teacher with the students published their writing. They typed all of this, illustrated, and then the teacher put the QR code up at the top. So when you scan it with your phone, then you can hear the student read their story. And so one of the cool things that we're noticing just through the work of focusing on writing is that their teachers are doing such a good job at creating a real audience and a real purpose for writing. So it's not just an assignment or a task, just amazing writing samples. And then I thought this was a cool one to share too, class books. So publishing all the students' writing, and then this becomes a book in their library so that all the kids can read each other's writing. So lots of things to celebrate. We still have room to grow, but I just want to applaud all the hard work that's been going on in all 3 buildings. So, and then Amy's going to briefly touch on math.
You want to pass them through?
Yeah. Yeah.
So cute. Hi there. I don't have any really cute things to pass out. I apologize. So I'll just keep the math update really brief. We have been through the data review process at all grade levels. It looks a little bit different depending on the building, but we have seen some tremendous growth, and I'll be sharing some of that data further with you at the Committee of the Whole meeting. But so some really exciting things happening. Also, we have been emphasizing the use of the district data review protocol. So teachers are really digging in. They're making predictions about the data, then they're looking and making observations, then spending time on possible causation factors, and then setting actionable goals and action plans, whether it's at grade levels or individual teachers, again, depending on the building. But it's just really exciting to have teachers having these great conversations about mathematics and where we're at and where we need to go next.
And that data is from which data are they?
Well, I'm going to be sharing Delta, as well as we'll dig into NWEA as well. So, any other questions?
I'll just make so one comment is districts have always been so data rich, but knowledge poor. In other words, we can collect so much data, but not have time to really look at it. And so I think what's important from what you just heard from Teresa and Amy is that they're leading staff through actual real-time data, which means you can change instruction or recognize that you may not have the right curricular supports. And so that's a big deal for where we've been and how we're working to improve student performance. So thanks, ladies. These are good. Do we get to keep these? No.
The teacher I borrowed from wanted to make sure that it's going to Oklahoma families and conferences.
Mine says snot bags. It's really funny.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, next up under reports is G, facilities bond update.
So we did have a meeting last week and Sean joined us. We began a conversation around furniture. The window is closing, so we don't have a lot of furniture to purchase like we did at the middle school. There was some really good news when we started out, which is that the inflationary costs in Europe are not as high as in America. So that wonderful furniture that you see in this room, like those red chairs, tables that we were able to purchase for the middle school, are actually, competitive to what less quality furniture is in the United States. So we really feel like we'll be able to stay with that same quality. And also very similar products that we know have really fit well with the bodies of young people. And yes, we wish we had enough money to do Lindsay's building too, but we're gonna keep working on that. I know. So we looked at furniture for the typical classroom over at Sean's. We talked about STEAM furniture. And we're looking at, we'll probably have enough funding to be able to put in like the Lego board in the STEAM room, the pegboard, so some of those fun hands-on that can be permanently on the walls. Breakout spaces. We took a look at locker size, color, one of the really cool things about the STEAM, and Sean can pipe in here, is that we look, recognizing that K4 kids will be in that room, right? That's a lot of different height sizes, and so we're looking at several different height sizes for chairs and tables, but having enough of them also so that you can fit a full classroom of this size, a full classroom of this. So really appreciate Tower and Pinkster, the architectural firm. They've done this so well before. They know our colors, they know our spirit, they know the purpose of our STEAM room, for example. And so they've taken our feedback. They're going to come back with some of the thoughts that we've had. And they're pretty confident we can fit it in budget, so that is all really good news. And I think that was the biggest. One of the things we're going to start working on with buildings is, and Shana, of course, is such a master at this. She helped the middle school get through it several years ago. The timing of the moves, right? We've got fourth grade classrooms to pack up and move to the primary school. And then, of course, you'll have some staff inside this building who need to pack up and get to their classrooms. And so we'll start working on how we can do that well. Because of the weather, they're pretty confident that we'll get this project done by the 1st of August and have time for everybody to move in. The weather has been our friend, and so that part's super great. So, and otherwise, we're just waiting for those design documents to be done before they go out for bid. So. I think that's about it. Sean, anything to add about the furniture conversation?
I don't think
I think you were smiling a lot.
I was smiling a
Sure
lot.
he was. And I
It looks great. Lindsay looks great.
You gotta look.
yeah. Yeah, so thanks, and all good news, all good news.
Okay, next up under reports is school safety.
So you are aware that we brought in an organization, a company really, called Secure Education Consultants. In fact, it is the company who helped write the legislation that is bringing us funds, all districts funds this year to do more safety upgrades, assessments, etc. In fact, their president of the company was actually interviewed when the unfortunate events unveiled last week at Michigan State. So this is a very good company who came in and did an on-site review, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of information. We're meeting tomorrow with our building principals and with Frank and with Kaylee. It's very thorough, and so we're excited about that. They check the environment, building access by employees, visitors, contractors, vendors, looked at the interior, the exterior, how we're able to communicate in times of emergencies, looked at our grounds, parking lots, checked out our emergency drills, emergency operations training, SRO, school resource officer, operations or lack thereof, emergency equipment and supplies, security operations, and security systems and video surveillance. So they have given us some assessments of both the things that we're doing well and ways to improve, and then for each building as well, central office included, as well as the transportation facility. Found some areas where I feel like, we have done a good job as a district. The last bond project really helped us get there, and yet, there could be some ways that we could improve security in an office, or like central office, when you come in, it doesn't have that buzz someone in. So some of those kinds of suggestions, and I'll just mention a couple. One of the things we do is we lock down doors, right? When we hit the button, there's an emergency, if it was the worst situation, the doors locked down. Well, one of the things I know we talked about pre-COVID, right, was what do we do, say, for high school kids who are coming back from early middle college, or some of those. And so we need to go back and revisit those plans, and how we communicate with them, and also pre-plan for those kinds of students. So just some of those kind of practical but important things. The fact that, do we have enough people trained in de-escalation strategies? So these are folks who've been to those unfortunate districts or school shootings. They've learned a lot. They've been on the front lines. They're giving us really good advice. And as we study this tomorrow and over the course of the next month or so, there'll be things that we could do right away. There'll be very easy technological fixes, things that maybe they're suggesting we put in our teachers to-go bags, and then there'll be others that may have to come down the line because they may be more expensive. We are getting funding from the state of Michigan per student in safety grants. We're a small district, so it's not as much as, say, a Port Age would get. But as far as I saw in the governor's budget, there will be more. This funding will continue into next year, as well as funding for school resource officers. So just kind of giving you an update. We'll bring more to you as we kind of dig into and set priorities. Okay.
Okay, next up under reports is Superintendent Evaluation Committee report, and I think Ben has that.
Yeah, so on January 19th, the committee met, Jessica, Diana, Wendy, myself. I did appear via telephone. But at the meeting, we discussed moving the evaluations around December. This would afford new board members the opportunity to work with Wendy, better understand kind of priorities and initiatives that we're working on. The this allows for data to be available, which we're always waiting on, and then also make sure that we have time for all the new members to get trained properly. Regarding the calendar, we talked about a somewhat of a mini eval or pre-eval that would occur May or June. We're going to pick the goals and priorities to focus on utilizing the rubric, and then the full eval in November, December of 23. We can still discuss salary and contract to be done by May. Training I talked about with the new trustees, and then at the COW in February, let's see, March, Wendy plans to have her goals for us, right?
Yep.
Okay. Jessica, Diana, anything I missed?
No, the change in the evaluation time period, a lot of school districts a few years back switched to the evaluations happening in December, just because we bring new board members on in January, then in like April, May, they're starting the review process. So it's just hard to review somebody on a year of job when you've just been in position a few months, plus everybody's required to have the superintendent evaluation training to be able to even participate in the evaluation. So when this changed, I'm guessing, it was even before you, Wendy, when Donnie was still here, when a lot of districts started changing that time frame. But just kind of better aligns with the board, calendar when new board members come on. So that was kind of the big part of that.
I know he already said it, but just to add to that, then it also will have all the data pieces. So when you do it in the spring, you have to wait.
You don't have to be data.
Yeah.
So that's just part of kind of what we were talking about at it. So yes, and we'll be talking about it at the council. Yes. Okay. So that's it for reports. Next up under business items for discussion is the monthly budget discussion.
Yeah. So you have a report through the end of January, which is 7 months into our fiscal year. There aren't any items to highlight for you, but I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any.
Yeah, no big updates on it.
Nope.
Thank you, Philip. Next up is aid communication, public participation, and that's when you would like to speak.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want me to sit over here, or doesn't matter?
If you could, just so you're more in the middle, so we can
More in the middle?
hear you.
I'll try to be loud, but the mic causes me a little bit of
And
ear
I think
pain.
it's
So
dead. I saw a red light.
yeah, it's still red. So first, I'd like to say thank you to Lindsay, because her and I have talked a couple times over the last few weeks. I actually am probably one of very few parents that follow all of the district pages. I don't know how many of their other parents actually follow all of the schools, but I do. And the conversation Lindsay and I had was regarding some of the book club stuff going on at the high school. Now, book club sounds like a wonderful idea. Primary has a book in a bag. Middle school does some stuff too, and that's wonderful. The question that her and I had a discussion on was just the contents of the books being chose to put out there as voluntary for book club. And part of our discussion was super helpful, so I appreciate that. And her willingness to kind of have an open dialogue about it. I have talked to some other parents who have kids across the grade levels and across the district levels, and some suggestions as the parents would be a little bit more out there. So, for example, the selected book club books for January, I had never heard of any of the titles. As a mom, I'm always like, well, if these are new and exciting, I'm always trying to get my boys to read, and they're not the best at wanting to do their reading. So I looked them all up. I
selected several different review sites for all of them, and all of them had warning labels for sexually explicit content. As a mom, I don't particularly think that should be thrown out in the school. If you as a parent want your child to absorb that content at whatever age they are at, fine, that is your choice. Some of them were contexts for rape, sexual assault, just a lot of sexual content with a wide variety, all colors and walks of life, all different types of, and they were high school based, with students engaging in activities in a high school setting, in the contents of the reviews and in the book. So as a parent, I know that some other parents may not necessarily agree with my stance to have more neutral reading material in the libraries. Some suggestions I have as a mom would be at least to let the parents know that there are these types of books in there so they can at least have a chat with their students. I know you and I had spoke about that, where that would be a parent conversation, to have a chat with your teen or your young adult that, hey, these contents, I would prefer you read something else. Fine. Maybe have a list of these books that some families would consider questionable on a list on the district website, so parents are aware that this is an opportunity or something they should talk to their student about. If we're going to offer books, I know, Lindsay, you said they're already in a section for young adult, which I was pleased with and pleasantly surprised, so I appreciate that they already have that step in place. But not all our students are 18. My boys will graduate at 17 years old, so they wouldn't even meet like an adult age cutoff where I would feel like, yeah, sure, pick anything you'd like. Fine. If there is a group of parents that want to collaborate, and I know Lindsay has invited me in and any of the other parents have questions, she was very open about it. If that's something that anyone else would be interested in kind of reviewing, that would be kind of where my headspace is at. I just wanted to make the board aware of it. Lindsay and I did a great job talking. She had some suggestions too, which is kind of what I was alluding to. I just, as a parent, don't feel like any sexual content should be thrown out there. I mean, I wouldn't allow my sons to just, there's a reason that we have ratings on things, video games, movies, and that sort of stuff. And it's a little appalling that some of these authors feel like this is their target audience, like when it really should be more adult or college age than young adult. That's not to say that our students aren't talking amongst themselves about any sort of topics. It's just put out there so forthright. So that's one of the things I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention.
Thank you.
I think I'll have a paper. Yeah.
I don't, nobody else signed up, did they, since we got that? Okay, next up is 9 business items for decision. Galesburg-Augusta Foundation Board of Trustee appointments. So board, you have a board action request form in front of you.
Yeah. So we have several members that are up for, I guess, re-election or reappointment. Joyce Henson, Terry Blake, Cheryl Vanderveen, Jeff McCubbin, and Margie Coleman.
So we think Jean Spencer.
Yeah, so Jane Spencer is the reporting secretary, so I guess we have to look in if we have to approve that or not. We don't have her paperwork. And then changes in position is this year Joyce Henson's going to be the president. I think she was a couple years ago. And then Terry Blake's going to be the VP. Any questions?
If I could have a motion, please.
I motion to approve the appointments and or reappointments of the Board of Trustees for the Galesburg-Augusta Community Schools Foundation as presented.
I'll support.
Any discussion? Laura, could you do roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Overgard?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Eberstein?
Yes.
Shoop?
Yes.
Forsey?
Yes.
Wilks?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, next up is 10, communications. A is board comments.
I just just wanted to ask Jamie if we would be able to see Maslow's.
Yeah, of course, it's all set up.
I wasn't sure if you'd be
I know it's
here
gonna
this
have to be
late,
meeting.
like,
I'll stay.
but I think I did get to go in and kind of help a little bit. I know I've talked about this before because I've been talking to Jamie about it and Lori, but I did get to go in and kind of help a couple of weeks ago and get some clothes folded and things, and it was really neat in there. And I think it's a really great, I think Jamie alluded to it, stigma breaking space. It is set up just like a store, but they don't have to buy anything. And I actually heard a story of a little girl who was going to pick out a winter coat, I believe. And Lori asked her, well, what do you think you would like? Like, what do you want to pick out? And she said, I don't know. I've never shopped for myself. So this is giving students who don't have those opportunities, those opportunities. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, Jamie mentioned if you wanted to take a quick walk down, I don't know if you want to do it between the end before closed session, if that works. That'd be cool.
So, for those of you who don't know, it's located in the science wing, so that way 3 to 4 students in the building walk past every day. It's highly visible, but it's up and running, it's wide open, so certainly as you're able, I would suggest just come down and take a look at it. We're very proud of it. Lori Washburn and Frank and Andy, the maintenance guys, did a tremendous amount of work to make it a reality. And I was able to showcase it tonight to people that donated the money to make it possible. So, thank you.
I just had a couple things I was going to bring up. Laura, thank you for typing up the committee assignments. Everybody should have this. I went through, you know, when we did all of our 1, 2, 3s, I wrote down the 3 committees we'd like to be on. So I tried going through all that coming up. If you have any questions about it or any concerns, just let me know.
I just wanted
I
to
heard
say,
that.
like, there's so many great things happening in our school right now. That was a great presentation, and very excited to hear about the Dream team, and then the esports. I think that would be great for our students. And then this weekend, we had the youth basketball home games. And that was a lot of fun to see the varsity teams go and ref, and that was a very good experience for them. But then, like, the older kids look up, or the little kids look up to them, and just seeing everybody come together and be at different events in our community was really nice. And then the boys team won the conference, and they got escorted by the fire department. And I don't know, I hope you guys all got a chance to watch the videos that Brian posted, but I was just crying watching them. Like, they're so thankful and so appreciative of it all, so it's really nice.
They were kids for a moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and I saw the girls wrestling too. Also,
2 freshmen.
Yeah.
2 freshman girls making it to state their first year, so that's pretty awesome.
So those the varsity players were also running the scoreboard and keeping book for the the 5th and 6th grade boys at the high school. And I caught them for a second. I said, "When was the last time you've been conference champs?" And they were so proud to say, "First time in school history." And so you guys, yeah, I mean, you should definitely be proud of yourselves to be part of Galesburg history. That was a cool moment because all of our boys, 5th and 6th graders, were there hearing that as well. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see more player escorts in the future. That'd be pretty great.
They're supposed to be approved by AD, just FYI.
We're good for now.
then just Laura and Christy scheduling another onboarding meeting, Wendy. So you guys have your calendars. We just kind of need to come up with a date to get one scheduled again.
Where are we?
And
What sport?
Oh,
We're trying to figure out which sport is still going until then. So,
Let's see. Most nights I'm good, but
actually, I'm kind of open on most nights coming up.
Laura's not.
Tuesday, just not a Tuesday. Not a Tuesday. Good. My Tuesdays are hard too. So.
No, Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
what does March 1st look like?
For me. Let me me check one thing. So, March 1st. So, actually, it's perfect.
Okay. March 1st, what time works for everybody?
Anytime after 5:30.
Okay.
So we're on 5:45 over.
Yes, I.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. That's all I had. Next up, under communications, B superintendent update.
Just two, really. At the committee of the whole, the building administrators, curriculum specialists, everybody, would very much like to show you the fall and winter scores and the areas of progress and growth that are being made because of the curriculum changes and instructional changes as a result of the data analysis. We've got teachers doing very big letters training. It's just, in today's world, teaching is hard, and yet we have the kind of teachers who are, embedding themselves in more professional development and the coaching that is coming their way. And it is so hard to even be able to begin to thank them for how dedicated they are to their kids. So I want to say that. I want to thank Teresa and Amy for being able to lead those conversations. I think they're being very resourceful. We're being resourceful. Our principals are. We know that we don't know it all, but I know that we've reached out, say, to Vicksburg's curriculum people to say, hey, how might we do this? And so, bringing all of that expertise into the district is beginning to make a difference with our student assessments and performance. So, the goal is that we just keep going up, right? That we begin to close the gap between gen ed students and special education students. And you'll see quite a bit of that reflected in my goals, as have been since I got here. That's, the focus is right on student achievement. And I just want to thank the team for how hard they work for that. The other is the KCSOA meeting. Don't forget, I don't know if you've let Laura know yet, but if you do want to go, she'll make sure that she puts in an RSVP. And then I think those were the two that I didn't address earlier. It is
March 15th.
Galesburg-Augusta usually has a good crowd, so always appreciate it. And many of you can come. So yeah, I think that's it.
Just real quick, this year, or in March, it's at the Radisson. That's new, never been there before. So if I almost didn't notice it.
Yeah.
So.
I also have my handicap parking sticker if anyone wants to buy it.
Okay. So we will go into closed session. Yeah, we'll go down. So do we want to say, well, we can do picture 2. Want to do 8:40? Okay, so closed session 8:40.
Closed session.